Hey everybody! Before the episode started, I just wanted to let you know that when I recorded the episode at first, I had a bit of a cold, so I sound a little bit off, but luckily I'm not the main one talking in this episode, but instead it's my guest, Edie Lauer. So that shouldn't be too much of a problem, but just wanted to let you know that. Also, I asked the questions a little clunky, so if I sound a little weird or not as natural speaking, it's just because I'm not as used to asking questions in an interview like this. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Hello everybody and welcome back to Songsmith. I'm your host Keaton Williamson and today is my first official interview episode. This is my friend Edie Lauer. You want to say hi to everybody?
Hello everybody. Thanks for having me, Keaton.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. Hello everyone and welcome to Songsmith. I'm your host Keaton Williamson and my goal is to help equip you to be the best musician you can be. The purpose of this show is to give you the knowledge it takes to be a successful songwriter, producer, and indie artist, while also honoring God in whatever music you create. We all want to be successful in this crowded space, so join me as we explore what it takes to be a songsmith. So, I guess we'll get started with talking about why I have you on the show, like what the things it is you do, and hopefully get people to know you a little bit better, and then talk about some of that. What is it musically that you do? What was one of the reasons I asked you to come on?
Well, I have sung. We've gone to the same church for 6 or 7 years now.
It's only been like 5, I think.
Okay,
however 5 or 6.
However long you guys have lived here.
Yeah.
But we've gone to the same church, so I've sung at my church and everything growing up. But when I went to college 2 years ago, I guess just last year I started on one of my school's ministry PR bands, which has been really, really fun, and we've been doing it all year. So I'm excited to talk about that if you're wondering about that. We do a bunch of different fun things, and it's great. So that's what I've been doing currently, music-wise. And on top of that, I've been trying to learn guitar since I don't currently play an instrument super, super well. So I'm trying to get acoustic to be my number one instrument. So
I will fully endorse that. Guitar is my favorite instrument. So you're a part of there's 2 traveling bands at Olivet, right?
Yes, technically there's 3, but one of them is super, super part-time where they only do 2 weeks of camps in the summer. So they just kind of do their 2 weeks and cut it off. But yes, the other 2 are pretty full-time and yes, pretty known.
For anybody who's listened to the Creative Podcast, the very short-lived endeavor I did with my friends Ben and Chen, we actually interviewed Edie's parents on one of the episodes, our second to last episode. So now it's coming full circle. We're going to have the kids, we have the parents, but obviously, you have your mom, your dad. Who's all in your family? What's that like?
So yeah, my mom and my dad, they're both pretty musically inclined as well. And then I have a brother, an older brother, and a younger sister. My younger sister is same vein as me. She, sings, she plays instruments, all the things. She'll probably end up doing some PR bands for a while, I'm assuming. We were both in choirs and things like that. So we're a pretty musical family. Yeah, and you know that.
When did you really start getting into music? Was there a time that you were a lot of people enjoy music, but was there a time or a point when you're oh, this would be kind of cool to do something with it, whether it's huge or if it's just the narrow, which is still a really cool thing.
Well, okay, I say this all the time where I don't think there's been a day since maybe I was 2 that I haven't sang something or hummed something. Every single day of my life is that kind of, I don't know, that's just my jam. That's what I do. But I did debate for a while, do I want to make this a career? Do I want to go into music ministry? Things like that. How serious do I want to go with it? And you kind of just have to pray a lot about it. And while yes, it is a huge interest of mine, and I do love the PR band and everything that I do get to do, I'm comfortable with where I'm at now with my major and where I'm going in the future, where I don't feel I don't feel called to music ministry, or I don't feel called to making music. But I still think you don't have to desire to do any of those things on a huge scale to not be a musician. So I would say yes, I got really into music I guess my whole life, but really when I got to college, I was oh, I can really do something more with this than just singing at my church. So I'd say that's kind of where, I don't know, I kind of really picked it up. And that's not to say I'll like have that same like, huge fire for it or this like fun job all of my life, but it's what I'm doing right now and I really enjoy it.
Yeah. So you want to, obviously, I've kind of talked about how you're a part of this traveling band at Olivet, and it's called The Narrow. Do you want to explain a little bit more of like what the kind of music you guys do, what it looks like to be a part of The Narrow?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really fun. You kind of audition. I guess around this time is when the students for this upcoming year will be sending in their audition videos like I did, and you kind of do a big blending session where you get picked and then selected for a team depending on your availability. But basically what it is, it's just a worship band that travels to like church camps during the summer. So youth camps, like super fun. You do junior high, which is like crazy kids that are like still, fresh out of like elementary school and they're like crazy. But you also get like, senior high kids, and some of them are like headed off to college. So they're super fun and like super mature. So you get quite the range, but we did a lot of fun stuff over the summer. My band was like the full-time band, so we did like 7 weeks this summer, which was a lot, but it was really fun. We just hung out at camps. We also did just like a couple retreats, a couple of district assemblies, if you know what that is. Just things like that. We did a lot of like random camp things. Like we wrestled a pig like in a mud pit, which was so random and so funny. Lots of like water slides, slime slides, swimming in nasty ponds, late at night. Waffle House runs. What else? I don't know. Just super fun memories, and you get really close with the people in your band. And so yeah, and then during the school year, we'll just do retreats and like church visits on the weekends. So it's not as long and not as fun as like summer camps, but we still keep it up throughout the school year, and I really enjoy it. So I'll have one more semester, and then if I decide to do ministry teams again, I'll do another summer and another set of semesters.
Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, you guys came to our fall retreat in
October?
Marion in October.
Yes.
Yeah, Marion. Right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Marion, Indiana. So that was a lot of fun, and we got to see you guys hang out, and it was really cool to see your guys' band. It was fun, the different songs you guys did. You guys were all upbeat, energetic about it, and like you guys, the people listening and like, because you guys were basically in charge of worship for the entire week, could tell you guys enjoyed what you guys were doing, and you guys just made it fun. You interacted with everybody, and it's nice to have like that more intimate setting where it's kind of this mix between a show but also like being if that makes sense, being a part of it with the people, whatnot, be able to interact with them. It's not just like, okay, you're there for the show and they're gone. You don't really get to see the people. You get to talk to them. You get to we get to see you guys.
Yeah, we definitely try and make it like fun. We try and do fun songs that people can get like pumped up to, or like games before. I know we kind of did that, which I guess in that sense it like might be a show, which I don't love that word, but I guess it is. Like, you got to keep, especially the younger kids, you got to keep their attention somehow. So those are the fun things that we do. But yeah, it's definitely just, at the end of the day, it's all about worship, and it's all about hanging out with the campers and like connecting one-on-one with them.
So you guys travel during the summer, you do stuff on the weekends for setting up for the music, because you guys you run the whole thing as in terms of like it's your group and you set up, you tear down, all that stuff. What does it look like on a normal time when you you go to a fall retreat, a summer camp? What does the setup and process like that look like?
Yeah, so we carry our whole system in just a trailer that we drag around the Midwest. So we show up about, just a couple hours before you guys would. And our system, before we knew kind of how it all laid out, it took us like 2 hours to set up, but now we can do it easily in like 45 minutes. So yes, it is like the whole sound system. We travel with our speakers, we travel with our in-ear monitors, and all of our instruments. So being just the standing vocalist, it is pretty easy because I literally just set up my microphone. But because my job is so easy and so quick, I have like learned how to help all of my bandmates set up. So I can confidently say I could set up, Kyle's drum kit for the most part. Maybe not perfectly, but I know how to do it. And I can, help set up some of the wiring and some of the speakers. And, I genuinely know where things go and plug in. So that's fun because I feel like I do have a well-rounded understanding of our system. But yeah, we set up, and then when it's time to tear down, it takes us even faster than it does to, set up. So that goes quick, load it in the trailer and hit the road.
Yeah. So how many of you guys are there, and what are each of the parts for the people in the band?
So there's 7 of us. I'm standing vocals. We have a girl on acoustic, a girl on keys and vocals, our drummer, our bass player, our electric player, and our sound guy.
Fun stuff. And you said new people get auditions to be a part of this band, and it's the same for the other stuff they have at Olivet.
Mm-hmm.
But after 1 year of doing it or whatever, can you go back into it if you get, can you audition again?
Yes, if you're in it for a year, you technically don't really have to re-audition because our boss, she wants people who have been on the road before to kind of show, the ropes to the newcomers. So she would like newcomers to return just because it's easier because they know what they're doing. So I don't think you technically have to re-audition, but it is always a little bit different every year, like how many bands are on the road, how much they travel, how much you want to travel. So I'm not necessarily thinking about doing the full-time again this upcoming year just because I'll have a lot of other stuff on my plate. So that'll switch in some aspect of just how much I'm traveling. But yeah, you don't have to re-audition, I don't think, unless you're trying to do a new instrument. If I was good enough at acoustic to want to travel on that, then I would have to re-audition with acoustic.
Gotcha. So obviously you're a part of the Narrow. I think we've established that.
Mm-hmm.
And you do that during the summer and on the weekends for different shows. I have 2 different questions, one related to the Narrow and one not, at least for this moment. First off, so you have all the different places you go, booked, or they have it set up, whatever, for the worship sessions, whether that's a day or a couple days. Who's in charge of that? You guys don't do much with that. I'm assuming that it's probably...
So our boss, she kind of reaches out to these camps, to these churches, hey, if you'd like to have this team come, let us know, we'll get you scheduled. So she kind of lets us know the dates, but that's kind of where her job stops and we pick it up. So it's actually my job in the band. On top of just leading vocals, I'm also the road manager, I guess. So I'm responsible for contacting all of the pastors or camp directors, emailing, communicating with them, when we're showing up, what we need to bring, how many sets we need to do, what kind of songs they would like, what are the activities for the week. So our band kind of gets to prep that side of things, which is fun. So yeah.
And outside of your involvement with the band, what are the things you like to do, maybe hobbies or just maybe things you do throughout your time at college or at home?
Yeah. So when I'm at school, obviously, I'm doing my classes, which I love my classes. I love being able to choose a major. I'm a business major, and I genuinely really do love it. So I do that. I hang out with friends a lot. I try and do intramurals, but I'm not very good. And I'm also a lifeguard on campus. I just got a job in admissions, so I'll be giving tours and stuff. So just really anything where I can just be with people, be with my friends, meeting new people on campus, that is my jam. So I'm always out and about. But just in my personal life, I don't know. I like reading every now and then. I don't know. I like cooking when I can cook. It's kind of hard to cook at our apartment because it's so small and I don't have all the ingredients I have at home. So I've been cooking while I've been home on break. But yeah, just hanging out with people. Yeah.
So another question just about you. Your parents, your dad's a pastor, and your mom is heavily involved with the church, and she's studying to be a pastor as well.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up in the church in that position, what was that like? Just, your life leading up to this point, and maybe how you got involved with the church I don't know. I know that's kind of a broad question.
No, I know what you mean. You definitely hear like this. There's like two ends of pastors' kids that either they're like the most like holy, like perfect children, like can do no wrong, or they're like crazy, like they've gone off the rails. They like you'll never see them again. They're doing all these horrible things with their life, and I'm like, that's crazy. That spectrum is wide, isn't it? But no, the way my parents raised me, I love them. They did a good job, I think. I just think it's about like giving your kids enough freedom, but also like, putting up guardrails. But I do think that's a mistake a lot of like pastors make with like raising their children, is where they kind of like put a lot of restrictions on what they can and can't do. And that just makes the kids want to do those things even more, So I just think it's about a good balance of, restrictions, but also freedom. And I think my parents did a very good job at that. And all of my siblings and I, we want to go to church. We make it a priority. It's not just because we're dragged there. So like even my brother and I, when we're at school, we're going to church every Sunday, like a local church, because we want to, not because our parents are telling us we have to. It's because we want to. And so yeah, it's, again, I think it's just about giving them the right amount of freedom and also letting them go, when it's time to grow up, and like whether or not you're going to school for another 4 years, or if you're still living at home, or if you're going to do a trade or whatever, kind of letting them go when they're an adult. It's like, you've done your best. You've had 18 years to raise them. Now it's their turn to, figure out life. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think what you said about the whole raising, and like this can really be true for anybody, how you have to make sure that as a parent you're setting up the proper guidelines, these walls or stuff to keep your kids safe, but not where you're helicopter parent or like just controlling everything about them. Because either they'll, like you said, want to do everything you tell them not to do, or they'll end up getting to a point where they like don't know how to live on their own once they are put into a situation like that. Whether even like college, when it's like this half in, half out, you have stuff you have to do, but you also have to make your own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you have to like be able to know how to raise them and set them up for success without controlling everything about them to the point where they can't live on their own.
Exactly.
What are some of your favorite songs for you guys to do? I thought that'd just be a fun question.
Ooh, that is a fun question. We have a songbook of like 25 songs. So I'm not going to lie, they do get kind of old after like, 8 months of traveling, doing the same 25 songs or so. But some of my favorites that we've been doing are like I Thank God, which has been out for a while, but it's always one that like the campers just like fall in love with. They love jumping and dancing to that one. I also love My Testimony by Elevation Worship. I just love the words of that song, and that one's just super fun to sing. But yeah, really good words. But I really do like our whole songbook. We kind of do have songs that we like joke about that like aren't as fun to do because I don't know, like if we have Oceans in our songbook, like Hillsong, and we love that song, but it's always just kind of like funny because it really does, it makes the kids like emotional, and sometimes you're like, guys, why are you crying? Like, listen to the words, this is a happy song. But I don't know, we poke fun at some of our songs, but our songbook, it's good, and we love it, and we've nailed a lot of them since we've done them so many times.
Yeah. And do you guys get to choose any of the songs that go into the book, or how much?
Yeah, so our acoustic player, she is our like programmer for all the music side of things. So she picked out our songbook. We have a good mix of like camp jams, what we like to call them, which would be like the I Thank God's, Glorious Day, that kind of thing. We also have more like church songs. So we have like Great Are You, Lord. We have like Lord, I Need You. Things that like we know like the older crowd are like certainly gonna know.
Yeah.
And then we have a lot of in-between things, some newer songs, some older songs. So yeah, we do get to pick it out, which is really fun.
And for anybody who wants to do something like this, whether, I mean, you might have the more specific things for at Olivet, but if maybe they went to another college or whatever, what are the kind of things that they should expect or be ready to do? Whether it's like the things they should be willing to ready to commit to, or what they might have to give up in order to be able to do something like this.
Yeah. So I don't know exactly what it's like at other schools.
Yeah.
I can say for like the Nazarene schools, like Trevecca, Mid-America, like those are all probably going to be similar, where it's just you've got to commit like a lot of time, obviously during your summer, a lot of time on your weekends, and you've got to be at least decent at your instrument if you're going to play an instrument, because you don't want to be, let's say you're just starting guitar or just starting drums or whatever, and let's say it's kind of difficult for you to like play in front of people since you haven't done it a lot. That's going to be distracting from, you worshiping or you leading people in worship. Is, oh, am I playing this beat right? Oh, am I playing like the right notes? So you do have to be decently good at your instrument to a point where you can lead people well in worship. As far as, at least at my school with the sound guys, it is always kind of difficult to get sound guys because people are like, I don't know what that is. I've never done that. But sound guys is a little bit different than all the other instruments because that is something you are trained for when you decide to like join one of the bands. So you don't have to come in with too much experience. You just have to be able to have, a good ear for music and know when something sounds good or sounds bad. So yeah, know your instrument. Unless you're a sound guy, you can have minimal experience and still be pretty successful. Same with like singing. You do have to practice a decent amount. You just do have to warm up, especially when we like play in chapel. It's like so early in the morning, and I'm like, my roommates are probably like, they probably get so mad mornings of chapel because I'm just singing in the apartment. I'm humming. I'm like trying to warm up my voice. But yeah, you do have to, it is a lot of time and commitment. Also, you do have to have a heart for youth, a heart for kids, because if you don't, you're gonna go mad in like, by the time the first camp is up, like you're gonna be done. But luckily my whole team, like we loved hanging out with the kids. We loved, meeting with them on like a spiritual level too. Just being able to hear like some of the, specifically like for me, the girls, just hearing some of their like struggles back home and at school. You have to be able to like handle the weight of some of that sometimes, which can be heavy. They've gone through some hard things. So, I don't know, you've just got to be mature enough to have serious moments, but also fun, to lead people in a fun way and show people that worship can be fun. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then I've got two closing questions. The first one is, what is your favorite thing of being a part of the Narrow, and what is your least favorite thing of being a part of the Narrow?
Ooh, that's a good question. Probably my favorite thing, I feel like I've said this kind of already, is just like the fun random things we get to do. Lots of just fun games, lots of bonding time with campers, and my bandmates. There's just so many funny like stories we have now, so many inside jokes, and we've met so many like weird campers that we will like remember forever. And like, I don't know, just things like that are kind of just my favorite memories. And when we come back together for, church travels during the school year, it's kind of just like you get to step away from school for a while and just go back to what like these 6 other people that you're so close with. You don't have to try and like, win their approval or like be their friend or anything. It's like we're already just like so close, where we hop right back into it when during the school year. My least favorite thing, it does get really exhausting after 7 weeks of like nonstop church camps. Like you really do lose a lot of steam. You get pretty tired because those are early call times and kids are going to bed late, and you're playing games at like 11 p.m. when you'd maybe rather be in bed. But I think the good outweighs the bad. I definitely recommend if you're thinking about it. I know you obviously like to do a lot of sound things.
Yeah.
I think you'd be great at like picking up a sound guy job or something like that, because they have a need for that. And even if you have a little bit of prior experience, you're probably one step ahead of, other guys who are auditioning. So, yeah.
And for my last question, so obviously it's coming nearer to the end of the school year. What is next for you guys in like your group of people for the band?
So we have like 6 or 7 more weekend travels this semester. So we'll start that up at the end of January. But yeah, after that, I think a lot of us are going separate ways. Like one of our band members is getting married, so like he's out of the picture.
Yeah.
Everyone else, I think, a lot of them are gonna stick with ministry teams. They might not do like the full time like we all did. So I think they're still gonna be involved with like music on campus. There's a lot of different areas, not just ministry teams, to do that. So I think they're all gonna stay involved. We're all gonna stay friends, obviously. Some of us might even be put on the same band again. So we'll see.
That's cool. And for anybody who wants to maybe check you guys out, check Olivet out, where are places that they can look for that?
You can find us on Instagram. I think it's just, actually, let me look. I don't know what our little tag is. I think it's just like at the narrow ONU, or just the narrow ONU. I don't know what it is.
I'll make sure to look it
yeah,
up and
maybe
put it in the
like
show
link
notes.
it or something. So yeah, I think we're on Facebook. It should be that same, username.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you want to have us, contact Ann Whalen.
Well, I want to thank you for your time today and for
Yes.
doing this interview and driving the 25 minutes to our house for it.
No problem.
But yeah, it was been fun.
Thank you, Keaton, for having me on. This was fun.
Yeah, thanks a ton. Now for the Songsmith Challenge of this week. For this Songsmith Challenge, I want you to get consistent at writing. And the way I'm going to have you do that is by writing at minimum 3 times this week. Starting either today or tomorrow, write something, then have maybe a 2-day break and then write again, and then a 2-day break and then write again. If you can keep this up or even be more consistent than that, that's amazing. But I want to start small, but still significantly consistent. When you're writing, you can be writing about anything. You can write off ideas of the other Songsmith challenges or just different ideas you have, but just be consistent. Try and write minimum a verse or chorus, but if you can really write a whole song or take that and work throughout the week to finish a song, that would be amazing. Consistency is key, and that is the challenge for this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening in to my conversation with my friend Edie Lauer. Hopefully you were able to take some stuff away from this, even if it wasn't a specifically songwriting episode. If you want to connect with me, you can do that via Instagram or email. My Instagram is at Songsmithshow, and the email is songsmithshow@gmail.com. Songsmithshow is SONGSMITHSHOW. If you have episode ideas or just have questions, you can send them to me that way, or you can use the poll and Q&A features that I put in each episode. Glad you tuned in, and I can't wait to hear from you. Until next time, keep writing.